Good afternoon. Our program will begin in 5 minutes. Satellite and Via Satellite Magazine are pleased to present the Keynote and Awards presentation. Please welcome back Satellite guest host Sarah Crudis.
everyone, and welcome to our annual awards luncheon brought to you by Via Satellite. And a big thank you and round of applause for our silver sponsors, Lockheed Martin. Round of applause, everyone. So in a moment, we'll be getting on to find out the winners of Startup Space. And this year, I've told, like every year before, it was standing room only for the competition, which is absolutely fantastic news. And looking forward to finding out more about that. But ahead of that, we have a keynote speaker from GovMill Space, SIA President Tom Strupp.
Thank you, Sarah. I'd like to thank Access Intelligence for our continued partnership and the opportunity to host this event. Congratulations to Jeff and his team on another outstanding satellite show. We're pleased to welcome our keynote speaker, Jay Schwartz, to the awards luncheon. Jay brings a wealth of experience to his role as chief of the FCC Space Bureau. He has worked in telecommunications for over a decade and spent 7 years in the FCC working in the Wireline Competition Bureau, the Wireless Telecommunications Bureau, and the Office of Strategic Planning. Jay also served as wireline advisor to former chairman Ajit Pai. Before rejoining the FCC, Jay worked at Comcast for 7 years as the vice president of public policy. We would once again like to congratulate Mr. Schwartz on his appointment to head the Space Bureau. Jay has a master's degree in civil engineering from Texas A&M and a PhD in economics from the University of Pittsburgh. So he brings to his work at the FCC a valuable technical understanding of the issues facing the satellite ecosystem. Throughout his career, Mr. Schwartz has recognized the importance of broadband connectivity, and he is connected to the internet at home via satellite, so he is very familiar with the capabilities of our industry. For those of you who have seen the orders that came out of the FCC this week, you also know that he's off to a very quick start. So please join me in welcoming Chief of the FCC Space Bureau, Jay Schwartz.
Thank you, Tom. I appreciate that very kind introduction, and also want to acknowledge we have a lot of folks from the Space Bureau here. All of that good work that Tom just mentioned, credit goes to them, so I want to say that right off the bat. So today marks 5.5 weeks that I have been in my role as chief of the FCC Space Bureau. And about my second day into the job, my colleagues started saying to me, hey, you need to get ready for Satellite Week, right? It's like it's the Super Bowl, Satellite Week. Now, Space Bureau is a new stop for me. I've been around the FCC world for a long time, but so is Satellite Week, of course. I did wonder, though, if I wasn't doing this, what are other things I could be celebrating this week? And so I took a look, and it turns out it's National Bubblegum Week. It's also National Older Workers Employment Week. It sounds redundant to me, workers' employment. National Science and Engineering Week, that's good, right? And there was one that I'd probably get in trouble for, so we'll skip that. Brain Awareness Week, and also International Brain Awareness Week. So it's kind of like SIA and GSOA or something like that. It's Consider Christianity Week. I'll support that. It's also Fair Trade Fortnight. So do you see what they did there? They both used alliteration, and they actually took 2 weeks. So I can only imagine what the consultant got paid. It's Termite Awareness Week, which actually worked because I need to reload my bait stations. And finally, it's National Sleep Awareness Week. Which, look, I've been working hard, not sleeping great, so that one actually made me a little edgy. But in all seriousness, I'm really glad to be here. I'm glad that I'm a part of Satellite Week this year. And there's going to be plenty of time to talk about specific issues and specific proceedings. And there's going to be plenty of time for us to grow to dislike each other. But today, I want to give you a bit of a why behind my passion for space policy and a sense for what's going to guide the Space Bureau as we go forward. So I'll start with the fact that I have 3 children, 7, 10, 13, and a wonderful wife who allows me to be able to do this job. And my kids are really why I spend so much time thinking about what I want America to look like in 10, 20, and 30 years. I actually see the space economy as a driver of the type of innovations that will create and defend the prosperous society that I want my kids and grandkids to live in. The second thing you should know about me is I live on a farm. And when my wife and I bought this farm, it was still one of the few places in the DC metro area that didn't have high-speed, reliable home broadband. My youngest would constantly say, "When can we get good broadband?" or "When can we get good internet?" As we had to cancel another family movie night. And that all did change when we got high-speed satellite broadband. So it's not an exaggeration to say that I understand from a very personal level how what this industry does and the advances in this industry can be life-changing in a very, very real way. The last piece of my background that I'll elaborate on a little bit is that I'm an economist. And if you want, you can just insert your own economist joke there. I was told that there's entire websites with them. But let me tell you about what it means to have an economist leading the Space Bureau. Nobel Prize-winning economist Robert Lucas has said, once one starts to think about economic growth, it's hard to think about anything else. That this quote resonates with me tells you a little bit about how my brain works, but it also tells you that we are going to think a little bit about space policy through the lens of economic growth. One study recently projected that the global space economy will increase at 9% annually. That would be far above what we'd anticipate for overall economic growth. And this growth matters. It matters because the industry in this room can actually be a pace setter for the overall economy. It can be a pace setter for our nation. And it matters because growth in the commercial space economy will enable all these new discoveries and services that improve people's lives. So the way I see it is that the main job of the Space Bureau at the FCC is to facilitate and accelerate all the investments in your industry. If we at the FCC, whether through slow processing, overly burdensome rules, things like that, if we are creating unnecessary regulatory drag, that drag matters in meaningful ways. So I actually wanted to take a shot at sizing how much that drag could matter. As a key regulator for the satellite sector, I wanted to think about how inefficiencies in space regulation at the Commission could actually ripple through the whole economy. Innovations today, we know, lead to other innovations tomorrow, next year, next decade. We're in the early stages of an expanding industry here, and we know that when we're in early stages like that, drag effects early on can compound to where you get a lot less of the good stuff down the road, sort of just like personal savings. So what seems like a short licensing processing delay today, and then another tomorrow, and then another on Friday, means that as society, we actually miss out on a lot. We have to wait longer for good things and great things in the future. So let's take that 9% annual growth rate that I mentioned earlier. Let's say because of regulatory drag, the FCC, other agencies, other administrations, the ITU, all of it, brings it down to just 8.7% annually. Just 0.3%. It's not hard to believe that regulatory drag might do that. It also doesn't actually sound like that much, right? Teeny weeny. Well, it turns out, an economist like me is going to say, what don't we get because of that teeny-weeny slowdown? Well, over the next 3 decades, that little slowdown would build, snowball, and would mean cumulatively over $5 trillion in economic activity that we don't get. But that $5 trillion, of course, isn't just a number. It's real stuff. It's real people's lives. Someone somewhere in the future loses out because we didn't act today. So I'll ask, what don't we get? Rural families brought online more quickly. What don't we get? Revitalization of struggling towns. What don't we get? Better logistics to lower the price at the store for consumers. What don't we get? An emergency alert that might save your life. What don't we get? Safer autonomous cars to take your mom to the doctor. What don't we get? A help needed message from your injured daughter on a remote hike. What don't we get? The battlefield communications that your son in the military depends on in some future war to keep people free. What don't we get? A drug manufactured in space that cures the disease your grandkid will get. I'm hyper aware of the cost of regulatory drag. And I take it very seriously, the opportunity, and I'm thankful for the opportunity that Chairman Brendan Carr has given me to do work in this time and this place that matters. All right, so what are we going to do? We want to be the global leader promoting growth of the commercial space economy. For us, this means 2 immediate priorities. Number 1, modernizing our licensing processes for space operations. And number 2, making spectrum available for more intensive space uses. So let's start with licensing. Our space licensing system is rooted in a mother may I regulatory philosophy designed for the last space race. We have chosen paperwork, processes, and precaution. We've actually chosen to have less of so many of those good things that I mentioned. Obtaining FCC licenses for space operations shouldn't be a multi-year odyssey. Engineers shouldn't need to guess requirements the FCC has in mind. And the FCC license shouldn't be the linchpin of anybody's business plan. It's urgent that we change course. So here's what modernization looks like. The Commission will need to make sure our rules are clear so applicants know where to hit the strike zone. We'll look to establish envelopes of flexibility within which operators can painlessly adjust. We must simplify processes to cut out the unnecessary. And eventually, we will plan for some more automation. More predictability, shorter timelines, less bureaucracy. Now let's talk about spectrum. As the chairman recently articulated, we want to take the successful mobile spectrum policy playbook of the last few decades and bring it to satellite operations. Yes, we'll look for new bands, but we'll also see if existing bands are being used as intensively as possible. And we will also look to clear out restrictive technical rules holding back deployment. They aren't making more spectrum, and so it's imperative that we ask how spectrum for satellite can be more available and also more intensively used. Much more to come on all that. So by now, I hope that you have a sense for who I am and what we aim to accomplish at the Space Bureau in the coming years. In the end, you all are the people who are going to take the risks. You all are the people who are going to push the boundaries. And you all are the people who are going to lead the way into the new space age. So let's commit to working together and building a brighter future for space innovation, for our economy, for our health, for our safety and security, and for our kids and grandkids. Thank you.
Well, thank you once again to Jay Swartz and Tom Stroop as well, and our partners at SIA for your support. So once again, a round of applause for Tom and for Jay. Now we are about to move on to the thing that you're all here for, which is, of course, the Startup Space winner, or finding out who the Startup Space winner is for this year. But before we head on to that, I wanted to highlight VS Satellite's newest effort, which is the Rising Stars. So we've had 25 young professionals selected, nominated by their colleagues for making a significant contribution to the industry and their companies. And I know some of you are here today, so if you're able to stand up, if you're one of those, some of you over there, yeah, round of applause, there we go. And I'm sure you'll all go on to have stellar, no pun intended, careers within the space industry. So now, the moment you've all been waiting for, let's lead off with the presentations of the grand prize for the Startup Space Entrepreneur Pitch Contest. And to present the awards are Jeffrey Hill, Rafferty Jackson, and Sky Perfect JSAT Yoshimuzi.
All right, good afternoon, everybody. Thank you for being here with us for the start of our awards program. Our first award is the grand prize for our 9th annual Startup Space Entrepreneur Pitch Contest, sponsored by Sky Perfect JSAT. Before we start, I want to express our gratitude to JSAT and JSAT International President and COO Yoshimuzi, who is here with us to present the award on stage. Mr. Shimizu, we really appreciate and are honored by this investment from JSAT and by our shared belief in the power of startups to change our industry for the better with new ideas and groundbreaking technologies. Please join me again in thanking JSAT for supporting Startup Space. I'd also like to quickly acknowledge and thank Lockheed Martin for sponsoring this awards luncheon. This awards luncheon is extremely important that we get to honor you and your achievements in the industry. So thank you to Lockheed for supporting this lunch. And I also want to acknowledge that I'm really happy to see Startup Space competitors eventually find their way to the nominees list of VIA Satellite's Executive of the Year and Technology of the Year awards. This year, Emil de Rijk from Swiss to 12 was one of the nominees for Executive of the Year. He was one of our first Startup Space competitors. We've also had Dan Sepperly from Leo Labs, Nobu Okada from Astroscale, and a few others in the Technology of the Year award. So really, really happy to see that and to see our startups succeed. So we now move on to answer the big question, who won? It all happened yesterday in the Exhibit Hall Theater. 10 entrepreneurs representing 10 global startups each delivered a 5-minute pitch to a panel of judges comprised of the space industry's leading private investors. We'll announce a grand prize winner, but we're also going to acknowledge the runner-up, which is the highest scoring competitor in the other group. There were 2 groups. So the winner comes from one group, but there is another group that competed, and so we have a tie for the runner-up this year. And I just want to acknowledge Noor Haj Tameen of Avianova was one of our runner-ups. They're developing a stability earpiece for astronauts and pilots that can also be used for medical purposes. So congratulations, Noor, for being a runner-up. And also Justin Chandler of Think Orbital, an in-space infrastructure and manufacturing company with building tools to support the future space economy. So let's congratulate our 2 runner-ups from Startup Space. And now to reveal our grand prize winner, I now welcome to the podium our longtime partner and Startup Space Director, Rafferty Jackson of Jack Industries. Rafferty?
Thank you, Jeffrey. So Jeffrey is a founder. He is the founder of the Startup Space Entrepreneur Pitch Competition 9 years ago. And what was just an idea is now the entry point into our industry for startups and folks who are bringing their expertise from outside the industry to solve our hard problems. He took an idea, made it an entry point, and now we have alumni who are IPO successful, have investments, created jobs, solved hard problems, and are also nominees at today's event. I would like to thank Caleb Williams of DataPig. He brings his data scientist expertise to the financial strategy and go-to-market for these startups. As you can imagine, he brings the industry's expertise to give them confidence to be able to make projections about what the future will be standing in front of our industry. He is also a founder, and he makes sure our competition is flawless. Lastly, let me thank our world-class investors who are our judges. Lockheed Martin Ventures, Stellar Ventures, Mac Ventures, Seraphim Space, DCVC, Starbridge Ventures, and OpAmp Capital. In any established company, there are only a few people who could do a 5-minute pitch about that enterprise, because it requires you to cover the entire enterprise. The customer problem, the company solution, the go-to-market strategy. How are you going to sell this thing? Then you have to figure out the opportunity. How big is the opportunity? How much money could be made? How big is this problem? Then you have to build a team. You have to figure out what the experts are that you will need to make sure that this company is successful, plus all the funding. How are you going to get the company up? How are you going to get it funded? And how are you going to get it going? That Herculean task is what all of our founders did expertly yesterday. They also, on stage, faced live fire from our VC experts who know a lot more than those startups know at that moment in time. VCs and investors sit on asymmetric information, piles of data, what has succeeded, what has failed, and what's next. I hope you take inspiration from these founders. A big idea can get transferred in 5 minutes with business storytelling. I also hope you understand the task of pitching a startup is infinitely more difficult than any of our founders made it look. They have all that knowledge in their minds and at their fingertips. With that, I'd like to announce the grand prize winner of the 2025 Startup Space Entrepreneur Pitch Competition, Dr. Femi Ishola of Femitron Systems.
Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for this opportunity. I dedicate this award to the African children with dreams, with hopes to reach the stars. This is a testament that you can do it. Thank you very much.
Presenting the next award, Via Satellite's Senior Editorial Director, Mark Holmes.
Hello, how are you all doing? Having a good lunch? Hey. Great. Got 2 awards to give out. The VIA Satellite Technology of the Year Award recognizes a breakthrough technology achievements in the satellite sector in orbit, on the ground, and at the software level. Now, in its 7th year, this award has recognized technology achievements like the integration of satellite into 3GPP standards, Apple's emergency messaging via satellite, and Astroscale's ELSA-D mission. With the increasing pace of innovation in the industry, there were so many notable tech demonstrations, new spacecraft, and new milestones in 2024 that we received more submissions for these nominations than ever before. A big thank you to everyone that nominated. We really appreciate that. Without further ado, here are the 6 nominees for the 2024 Satellite Technology of the Year Award.
Agatha AI, Slingshot Aerospace. Slingshot Aerospace's Agatha AI is designed to pinpoint even the most subtle spacecraft abnormalities and predict future threats. Agatha is a unique AI application in the way it finds a needle in a haystack, evaluating data from thousands of satellites and providing next-level space domain awareness. Link 16 in space, York Space Systems. York Space Systems and the Space Development Agency achieved the historic milestone of the first-ever space-to-ground transmission on the Link 16 tactical data network. This milestone has implications for both defense networking and how space capabilities can connect air, ground, and sea assets. Mira Orbital Transfer Vehicle, Impulse Space. The Mira Orbital Transfer Vehicle is designed as a high-performance spacecraft for payload hosting and constellation deployment. Impulse Space, founded by Tom Mueller, designed, built, and launched the first Mira vehicle in under 15 months, a staggering pace in spacecraft development. Sigma Platform, Speedcast. Speedcast's Sigma platform aims to enable multi-orbit, multi-network satellite connectivity across multiple paths. Sigma converges multi-orbit satellite networks with terrestrial fiber, microwave, and cellular into a single high-performance wide-area network. Starlink Internet, SpaceX. SpaceX's Starlink constellation rose from a highly scrutinized industry disruptor to become a market leader in satellite connectivity, rapidly expanding its market share in 2024 across consumer broadband and aviation and maritime mobility markets. W-Series capsule, Varda Space Industries. In the Varda Space Industries' first W-Series mission, the W1 capsule performed pharmaceutical research in orbit, then survived re-entering Earth's atmosphere to successfully land in the Utah desert. The mission was a milestone for both in-space pharmaceutical manufacturing and satellite re-entry.
What a great set of nominees. You guys make it tougher for us every year, but there can only be one winner. So the winner of our Satellite Technology of the Year Award for 2024 is Slingshot Aerospace Agatha AI.
Thank you very much. Incredible recognition for a group of developers who worked hand in hand with DARPA years ago to come up with this groundbreaking technology. You know, 30 years ago, I was a young Apache pilot flying off the coast of South Korea out of the Yellow Sea. And we went out there at 300 feet at night looking for special operations boats that would sneak out with a fishing fleet at night. And they would hang out and then carefully find themselves coming into South Korea. When I think about how we did that, and now what Agatha does to identify anomalies in constellations to give us first mover advantage for either anomalous activity or nefarious activity, for a guy who hasn't written a single line of code, I'm incredibly grateful to the teams who developed this. Thank you all for the recognition, and also thank you to Lockheed Martin for your sponsorship.
A big congratulations to Slingshot Aerospace for winning the award. Really well deserved and a great set of nominees. We have now come to the point where we are going to announce the winner for our prestigious Satellite Executive of the Year award. Here are the nominees.
Peter Keynote, Redwire Chairman and CEO. Peter Keynote has successfully built Redwire into a critical supplier for the space industry. Over 10 acquisitions in 4 years, Keynote has built Redwire into a brand that is trusted by customers across the space industry for commercial, civil, and government missions. Don Clausen, ST Engineering iDirect CEO. Don Clausen has overseen innovative product launches and important contract wins as CEO of ST Engineering iDirect, while establishing himself as a leading voice championing tech innovation and flexible business models in the satellite ground segment. Emil de Rijk, Swiss to 12 CEO. Emil de Rijk is disrupting the GEO satellite market with the Swiss to 12 HummingSat GEO satellite platform. De Rijk's vision for the HummingSat is to strengthen the competitiveness and cost-effectiveness of GEO against increasing pressure from LEO constellations. Aaron Miller, Space ISAC Executive Director. Aaron Miller's leadership and advocacy has built Space ISAC into a prominent and trusted organization that is a forum for companies to collaborate and share information on cyber defenses. Under her leadership, Space ISAC has become a vital resource for space operators. Flavia Tata Nardini, Fleet Space Technologies CEO and co-founder. Flavia Tata Nardini has built Fleet Space Technologies into a sustainable small satellite business tailored to the unique needs of the mining industry while raising the profile of Australia's growing space industry. David Waisgrass, Intelsat CEO. In the 3 years since Intelsat has emerged from bankruptcy, CEO David Waisgrass has driven a turnaround at Intelsat that transformed the operator into a managed service provider while embracing a multi-orbit strategy and a new future by combining with SES.
I have to say, it was a super tough competition this year. All of those nominees are fantastic. Before I announce the winner, let's give the nominees for Satellite Exec and Satellite Tech a big round of applause. But, as you know, there can only be one winner. And the winner for the Satellite Executive of the Year award for 2024 is Emil de Rijk, Swiss to 12.
Wow, thank you so much. Really grateful for this token of recognition. The team's excited over there. Let's give them a round of applause. So this is really special for me. 10 years ago is the first time I came to the Satellite Show. We were back then a three-man startup company, so we didn't have much to show for. And I remember walking into the exhibit hall with a little piece of 3D printed antenna, which was our initial product in my jacket, and an iPad with 2 slides, and thinking, okay, this is going to be a very long day. I know absolutely nobody in this industry. Let's walk the trade show in a serpentine and get to know everybody. And 10 years later, here we are, building geosatellites for some of the most prestigious customers in the industry, having put products in space on multiple satellites, having developed ground products to better connect various platforms and users to satellites in a very bottom-up approach, initially building antenna technology and then using that antenna technology to move up at system level, and working really in collaboration with the entire industry, be it with suppliers, partners, and customers to achieve this. So thank you so much for the recognition. It's really been exciting, and there's much ahead of us. The industry is in tremendous change. A lot of opportunity is out there. And I really want to encourage all the entrepreneurs in this room to follow this story and say, one day you can walk in here and be nobody and get to know your first contact in the space industry and really achieve something meaningful that moves the lines for everybody. Thank you so much.
Before we go, I want to say a few quick thank yous. These awards increase in significance each year. I would like to thank the team, Access Intelligence, who helped put on this amazing awards lunch. I'd like to thank every single person that voted in the awards, all the nominees, and every single one of you who came today. I would like to congratulate the winners once again. To win these awards, to even be nominated, is an amazing achievement, given the size and the breadth of the industry now. One of the things that I love about these awards personally is they highlight the positive impact of people and companies in our industry. I think in a world that is becoming more fraught, highlighting the positive impact of companies and people is becoming ever more important. One of the big themes of Via Satellite is we have the aim of becoming the community publication of the satellite industry. Last year, we launched a new feature, our Via Satellite Rising Stars, which highlights some of the amazing young professionals in our industry. This goes alongside initiatives such as 10 hottest companies in satellite, celebrating women in satellite, 10 startups to watch, as we aim to bring this diverse, wonderful community together and highlight many of the people, companies, and stories you perhaps would not have heard of otherwise. I would like to thank you all and enjoy the rest of Satellite 2025. Thank you very much.